Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the latest edition of Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture and entertainment news website. I am so thrilled to have this woman on my right with me. She is one of my all-time favorite comedians that has ever appeared on America's Got Talent, and also was not only a finalist for season 13, but also competed on America's Got Talent Champions and Britain's Got Talent Champions. She is also the host of the new show, Big Girls Don't Cry podcast. So please help me welcome my friend, Vicki Barbolak.
Hey, Jacob. Hey, everybody out there in podcast land.
I'm so thrilled, Vicki, that you're here. I'm so thrilled for you, and I'm so happy that you're here. That you took time on your schedule to catch up with me.
I'm so glad. I'm so busy with my worldwide tour, scheduling, traveling, doing stand-up every night. I'm lying. There's nothing happening. The entire world is shut down. So I'm thankful that you called me and get me to put on some lipstick. No, actually, as crazy as it seems, I have been amazingly busy, but I'm enjoying it so much. I mean, for a while, there was nothing happening and I was going, but, things are happening. So that when you're a creative person, you really need to create, right?
Absolutely. You need to create. And it's been busy because this podcast, I just want to let you know, on the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast on Spreaker, all the audios just hit last week, 1,000 total downloads. So I just hit the 1,000.
1,000! 1,000! Yay! Someone again! Yay!
Yes, thank you so much, Vicki.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, it's
1,000. Yeah, it means a lot more people that probably 10 times more people than that are actually watching. So that's
absolutely. Good. Absolutely. I'm just thrilled that the audio edition is doing great and the video editions, I'm so happy. And I've welcomed the clairvoyants on for the video edition, and you guys can check it out on Jacob Elyachar's YouTube channel, Jacob Elyachar YouTube channel. But however, we got to get to you, Vicki.
Hey, with the clairvoyants, I got to watch that episode. They freak me out, man. Do they freak you out?
No, they don't, because they're actually, I just want to let everybody know this. Earlier to celebrate America's Got Talent's 15th anniversary, I named my top 50 acts, and Vicki, you were part of my top 50.
Oh, thank you.
And however, I named the clairvoyants my top magic and mentalist act and variety act of all time.
Yes. I mean, that's what I mean. They freak me out because it's so it is. I mean, you cannot, it's got to be real. I'm sorry, which means they know how much I'm overeating. Okay.
I love Tommy and Amelie, and also they're in really good company too, because right behind them is Shin Lim, but right in front of them is Terry Fader.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
All right. So it has been a year since we last corresponded, Vicki. So how have you grown as a comedian and a content creator since we last spoke?
Well, the great thing about, I've been on back-to-back national tours. The first tour was Trailer Nasty, then 2020 was Trailer Palooza. And so just meeting people and doing 1 hour headlining, 4 nights a week, 8 shows a week, it makes you really strong. And it's what I always dreamed of doing. And it was better than the dream and more fun. And then I got this fancy new managers, thanks to Mr. SC, whose initials, say everything.
Uh-huh.
I got fancy new managers, and then they got me with the Caesars people in Vegas, and then I got my own room at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Club, and I have a residency there, before COVID, every Tuesday, Trailer Park Tuesday. And so I'd fly into Vegas on Monday, do my show Tuesday, or sometimes have to fly Tuesday, whatever. But every week I was in Las Vegas for 6 months in this beautiful comedy room that Jimmy Kimmel designed. It's the most fabulous room. And then people from all over the world who saw AGT would be in Vegas and come in, and I got to meet so many people from everywhere that are fans of AGT. And then the people that I met on the tour, the kindness, the fun I've had with them. So doing the stand-up has been great. And then the things around the stand-up, the people that I've met on the road. So I'm just so happy. I mean, I don't know when it'll ever come back. I think one day it will, but we have to accept what we are given. And I'm grateful for having gotten to do what I did.
Absolutely. And by the way, I was about ready to ask you about Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club as well, because I was so proud of you when you got that. I was like, yes.
Yes.
I was so happy you were able, because I remember, guys, if you haven't read our last conversation, head to jakestake.com and type in Vicki Barbolak's name. And she has done an incredible job because she started with the Comedy Store, and then Mitzi picked her up, and then all Mitzi Shore and all the Shore family. So I'm so proud of the way that you were able to get to Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club. But before coronavirus shut everything down, how did that opportunity to perform at Jimmy's Comedy Club came about?
Well, my new managers, which really came, I think it had a lot to do with Simon Cowell. My new managers, well, it had everything to do with them. So he got me into this really big management company, and that he works with, and so they signed me, and they signed like musicians. I'm the first comic they've ever worked with.
That's incredible.
But they know about Caesar's group. They know everybody in Las Vegas. So they go. One of them said, "Come to Las Vegas," and I thought we were just going to talk about doing a trailer park TV show in Las Vegas. I had no idea what we were going to talk about. So I'd go there, and I'm not that dressed up. And in the morning, I have my usual whatever. And then that morning, I find out we're going to meet with the Caesars execs and tour all the Caesars properties to get me a room in Las Vegas. So I was like, oh my God, I got to do something. So I went to the dress shop at Caesars Palace. Everything's $1 million. And I'm trying on all these expensive clothes because I'm not enough. I got to get something better. Nothing fit me. It's all like tiny. But I bought a pair of like $80 sandals with diamonds in them. And then I'm like, oh, this will work. I'll feel great if I have these stupid shoes on. So I'm teetering all over. But so these execs take me through all these rooms at Caesars. They go do like this room, Vicki. I'm like, I'll take the ladies' room. Okay. And then the rooms that we really wanted were, of course, the Jimmy Kimmel room, which I thought that would never happen. And then this other room called Cleopatra's Barge, which is Wayne Newton's room. It's a small room that Wayne Newton is using now, which is really a great show. Anyway, so they called me a couple weeks later, the managers, and they go, "Oh, we got Kimmel." I'm like, holy shit. And so that happened. Yeah. And it was just, oh my God, they're so nice there. It's been so fun.
That's incredible. And hopefully, and I believe, and I pray that, and I know that you're going to be back in that room.
Thank you, Jacob. Yeah, I hope so too. From your mouth to God's ears, I hope so too. And the only thing is though, I'm a firm believer in life. You do as much as you can. Try to not sit on your butt too much. That's my mantra to me because I'm the laziest person. But do as much as you can and then hope for the best. But I feel like I gotta bounce along like a bobble on the water. I can't get to, none of us can, right? We can't. This is the greatest thing about COVID. Is it teaches everybody, you can try as hard as you can and you can move whatever you can move on your own, but there's certain things that you cannot control. And I think we're all learning acceptance.
And I totally agree, because the thing is, I was just about to ask you about the challenges, because every person I've talked to has said, like I just talked to my friend Mike Rosa, and he said that he's a bodybuilder and also a fitness entrepreneur, and he said that COVID was an actual blessing in disguise.
Yeah. What was his thinking that personally for him about that?
Okay, so what Mike was trying to do is basically, Mike was supposed to go to the Arnold in Cleveland, Ohio, which is one of the biggest fitness expos, where it would probably get his.
You don't have to tell me, Jacob. I've been.
Yeah. So anyway, he told me and sadly, unfortunately, the event got canceled and he lost a lot of business because of that. However, things turned around for him because of the online community and his anabolic aliens community, which is a very strong fitness community. He said that he's done incredible. He's actually created a lot of platforms, and it's incredible. He has almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
That's fantastic. Yep. I think that's a fantastic thing. That's what Lou told me the other day. He goes, Vicki, maybe because Lou's my husband. And he said, maybe Vicki, this being cut off the road, you couldn't have been a road comic forever. Never wanted that. You liked it for what you had, but he said this podcast situation, and everything, it could be like the blessing. And so I always think the tragedy has an opportunity. So I would never have started a podcast if it weren't for COVID shutting everything down, because I was pushing towards TV and pushing towards a lot of other stuff, which might still happen. But, podcast is something I never would. And it's really it's almost like the early days of radio, what you can do with it.
Absolutely. And it's been a blast for me getting to have the opportunity to bring my interviews. I've been doing this for almost 9 years.
Yeah.
And to bring our conversations to the podcast platform has been amazing. And I've been blessed, and I won't go back to written interviews for a long time.
Right. It's true. People really like it. And then they could play, you could see, or you could listen. It's great. And I'm also involved in the early stages of production that I can't really talk about who it's with and everything, for another, like, more of a real radio drama show. And I'm really excited about that too. Like, that just popped up a few weeks ago, and I'm super excited about that because it's going to be trailer formatted and stuff. And I feel like, just when you think, oh, there's nothing, I was thinking for a while, maybe I just pretended this whole career. Maybe, honest to God, something I've done with every bit of my breath for 20 years. You don't do it for 4 months, and then I'm like, did I ever do it?
I totally agree with that. And before you launch the podcast, I've got to talk to you about your web series, Trailer Talk. So can you please describe the Trailer Talk origin story to my audience?
So what happened with Trailer Talk is, honestly, I think this is one thing where you try things and you see if it's going to work or not. And what happened with Trailer Talk, I thought I would just talk about my opinions and sit on a couch. And I honestly, it didn't go that well. And so, I just felt like people weren't digging it that much. I don't know what was going on, but just didn't really work. So then I thought about, what do I care really about a lot? And what do I really care about? What do I have something to say about every day? And it's being fat. And not that it's just being fat. It's about, all my life I've kind of been defined by being a fat little kid, fat grown up, fat comic, the fat girl. And whether or not I've been thin or fat, doesn't matter. I'm always going to think I'm fat. So I wanted to talk about body image and acceptance of my body, loving myself and my inner body, my soul, as well as my body, because I think one thing about my comedy, since I very started, people would come up to me and go, because of you, Vicki, I'm wearing a short sleeve dress. I never did that before. I didn't want my fat arm. So like, people would say, they would see this mess of a girl up on stage, and they'd say, God, she's a mess. If she's such a mess and she can be on stage, well, I can do something. And so without trying, I think my messiness inspired people to do what they wanted to do. And so that's why I kind of let Trailer Talk go, because I just felt like it wasn't the right path, but I tried it. And then I started planning Big Girls Don't Cry. And then my girlfriend, Cindy Burns, who was a co-producer, as an actual main producer of a show I did for years called Funniest Housewives of Orange County, she was a doll, and she passed away 4 years ago. It ripped my heart out. But her daughter, Amber, is about my daughter's age, and she is a big girl. Cindy weighed 105 pounds with concrete jewelry on. And Amber is like just a big, curvaceous, fabulous girl who owns a beauty spa in Newport Beach. So this girl has balls. Do you know what I'm saying? And I love her, and she reminds me so much of her mother. And so I asked her to be my co-host on Big Girls Don't Cry. And I feel like we have this great chemistry, and I think what we're doing is worth. I just am interested in it. People are responding, and so that's kind of what really Trailer Talk has evolved into. Big Girls Don't Cry.
And I gotta say that I tuned into a couple of episodes, and it's really good. And I love that you guys talk about different stuff. And also, you're a producer as well. You also have a producer.
Hot Mike. Yeah. Mike Vinn is an ex-Marine, And I needed somebody technical to be in the studio. Mike's a comedian. When he first left the Marines, I got to know him 15 years ago. I just watched that little baby Marine come up. And, he's beautiful. He's an eye candy for the ladies and the guys, okay? But the thing about Mike's straight and married. But for me, I'm married, but I always say, you got to fill your tank. So you lay in the bed with your same guy every night. You got to have something to think about. So I just figure a guy like Mike around is just like a top off. And he's just a lot of fun on the show. So grateful.
And I'm so happy that this format works with you. And I got to say, podcasts are definitely, I've seen a lot of alumni from AGT now starting their own podcasts. Like I've seen Taylor Williamson do it. I had Drew Lynch on earlier this year and talked to him about it. So I'm so happy that you guys are taking advantage of this new media platform.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not easy though. We spend it's so weird. If you didn't even watch that show, and they would think that we spent like 6 hours prepping for that show, or I did, they'd go, no, well, you're wasting your time because it looked like nothing, but it is, as you know, it is a lot of work, but it's fun.
Absolutely. So America's Got Talent 15th anniversary season. So what does it mean to you to be a part of America's Got Talent's legacy?
I think it's a miracle. Honestly, I just prayed to God that something would happen to me that I'd get to keep doing stand-up. I always felt like I was truthful to my heart. Like I always kept going. I always had that dream. I worked I never didn't do the work. I showed up at any crappy place there ever was, whatever I had to do to keep going. And I just had a faith that something would happen. But to think it was going to be America's Got Talent, I would never have seen that coming. And because it has such a huge platform all over the world, and millions of people see you and know you, and the way you're shown on that show, there's no fake in it. They interview you to the point that it's like almost like waterboarding, to the point of you can't not be who you are because they just get it out of you. If you started out to be a phony, you would break down. And I didn't start out to be a phony, but they really got who I was to everybody authentically. And so if you're on that show, people know you and they really know you. So it's really fun that so many people get to know you in a short time. And the wonderful people that make up that show. They're the producers, the staff. They're terrific. And I had the time of my life, and I'll never, 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 ever not be shocked and so grateful.
And here's the thing: when I brought up all top 50 of my acts, when I did that, all of you were authentic. I connected with all of you, no matter how old you were, no matter what you guys looked like, no matter if you were a comedian or an opera singer or a magician or a mentalist, or even a dance group or a choir. I connected with every single person that's in my top 50. And that's a big part of legacy. But I know you live tweet as well, AGT. So throughout the season, they actually brought in the showcase how the coronavirus impacted America's Got Talent. So they started off with the full audience at the Pasadena Civic Center Auditorium with all 4 judges. And then slowly, one by one, week by week, it went down to Simon, Sophia, and Howie. And alone. No audience, just a crew and just them. So as someone who's familiar with the audition process, how would that scenario challenge you as a performer?
I love the way it's happening because it's so raw. It's so beyond raw. And I'm so in awe of everybody that's doing what they're doing, because it is, anybody can perform for a full room. I think it's a lot easier. Theater level gets weird. For me, I'm like a comedy club. That's a sweet spot. 250 to 350 people. That's perfect. You know what I mean? You get into like thousands of people as a comic. It's a little like you might as well have 2 people because they're so far away from you. It's hard to feel. I know it sounds weird, but it's theater. it cuts off a little of your heart in a theater. You know, you learn how you got to learn how to do it, but it's not as sweet. But when you have just 2 people, 3 people, judges, no audience to feed off of, man, it's just so much different. It's so hard. And I mean, the closest I can come to it is Zoom comedy. I avoided it since the whole COVID. I got asked to be on 100 shows and I said no. And I kept thinking it because I thought I was better than going on these Zoom shows. But the truth was I was afraid. So finally last night, my friends out of the Punchline in San Francisco, I did my first Zoom comedy show because I trusted these people. I knew they were doing their best and I did it and I had a blast. But it was, imagine that and then 14 million people at home watching you, but yet you're feeling disconnected. And that's what these performers do through this season. So I felt the intimacy between the performer and me as a viewer to be unbelievable. So I think this might be the most amazing season ever.
I agree. And I have compiled my list of my favorite acts and I have to wait till Judge Cuts. And now for you, Judge Cuts, you had you had a guest celebrity judge and you had to impress them. But this time, no guest judges. And it's just them on Zoom facing all 4 of them. So it's going to be like intimate as well. So, do you have your eyes on people who can deliver?
I don't even want to say, but I have a couple of favorites, but I'm not going to say.
Me neither. I don't want to jinx them.
Yes. But it's written here on my underwear. No, just kidding. Yeah. Jason, Jacob, I got to tell you, the first night of my podcast, we've only done 3 episodes, but the first episode, I sat there in my leopard chair over there, opposite Amber, 6 feet away from me. And I never sit like a lady. I did a lot of news shows when I was promoting AGT, and I do a lot of news shows from promoting my tour. And they always have to tell me, put your legs together. And so on my first episode, there was nobody saying, put your legs together. And then we got hundreds of, please don't do that again. There was a couple of moments where the box of wine was covering my crotch. But other than that, it was not good. So the second episode and last night, we tied my legs together with an elastic cord.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, what you have to do.
All right, this is the third to last question. So what have been some of your favorite social media platforms that you like to promote, to use? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and why do they stand out?
I've never gone on TikTok, and I don't have any idea what it works like. I don't know. If you make another platform, I'm going to shoot somebody. Okay, get out of your platforms, please. I cannot. Anyway, so I know I should learn TikTok one day. Maybe I will, but I'm like, oh, you know what? Just shut it down. The Chinese are taking over. I'm only kidding, but I probably have to learn how to use that. I'm really comfortable with most comfortable with Twitter and Facebook, and Instagram's really cool too. My daughter Lily helps me a lot with Instagram. That's what she does a lot of, and we kind of work together on it. But yeah, I think they are absolutely amazing. The only thing in the personal level that I don't like about Facebook or something like that is I have like a personal account, which I kind of like didn't know I should keep personal. You know what I mean? So now there's like 2,500 people on it or whatever. So now when one of my good friends' dad dies and they don't call me, but they put it on Facebook, I have 2,500 people. I don't look at everything. And unless people tag me specifically, my closest, oldest friends are having these life events and I miss them because I'm so overwhelmed. I got too much. So that's my only stupid problem. I guess you should think about things like that, but be careful with your stuff. But I feel terrible sometimes. People have like lost a parent and I'm like, what? I'll just call them up shooting the shit. Well, I'm sitting Shiva right now. What? I didn't know. So
it's just a shame about that. And then also, so this is the second to last question. Are you ready?
Yes.
So AGT just recently announced that season 16 is a go for auditions. So if you had the opportunity to meet with fans and also comedians who are looking to advance their career and want to audition for the show, what advice would you share with them?
I would say you just one step at a time. Get a really tight 2 minutes together. Just nail that 2 minutes to the wall and make it just about you, as specific to your personality as possible. Because there's a million other people. There's only one you, and then work that 2 minutes over to the point where you sleep it, breathe it, eat it, and just get it. And so that when you walk in there to that audition, that you're ready to bring it. It's like getting into that batter's box, just that ball's a coming, I'm going to hit it. And the hardest thing to do is to hit a baseball. And the hardest thing to do is stand there and do a 2-minute audition in front of 2 or 3 people with a bunch of noise around you. It's a really hard process. Don't think it's not. But if you've been working at your career and your dream, there is no better platform. So I would encourage people to just go for it. Do it.
All right. So this is the last question. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Where can my audience connect with you through the web and also on social?
Yeah, it's pretty much on social. It's Vicki Barbolak throughout, and on the web, it's also now. We finally got my name back. Some people in Japan had my name. It's really weird. Yeah. So we got VickiBarbolak.com back, and we had to go to Vicki Barbolak Comedy. Either one worked to my same website, and at my website I have an Ask Vicki section, which you can ask me questions personally. I get them every day, and I answer them, or you can ask questions for me to read on the podcast. So everything is there. All my T-shirts, my hats. I'm selling my grandchildren if anyone needs summer workers.
All righty. So anyway, guys, to download episodes of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, head to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Also, just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast. Jake's Take with Jacob, Jacob Elyachar podcast. And also, please make sure you guys subscribe to my social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. On my YouTube, you have all my video interviews, including the ones I did with Vicki, plus Joss Mooney from The Challenge, from The Clairvoyance, plus my friend Anabolic Aliens, Mike Rosa. They're all on my YouTube channel. So it's just Jacob, Jacob Elyachar. Once again, Jacob, Jacob Elyachar. And to read my recaps of America's Got Talent and to read my original interview with Vicki, head to jakestake.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Vicki, as always, you have been incredible. I'm so happy that you came back.
Thank you, Jake, and congratulations on Jake's Take. It's so great to talk to you. You do a great job, and we all appreciate you so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Vicki. Have a great day, guys. Bye.